Alright, so we're going to go through this Chapter 5 review. I'm going to go through it a little quicker than you probably did it. You were supposed to do it last night on your own. So don't write down exactly what I'm doing on the board, only if you need to fix something. So you shouldn't be copying off the board. You should be checking your work. Alright, but if I am going a little too quick, just let me know. Number 1, you are looking for the x values that are less than or equal to 9. So that's going to be A, B, and C. Number 2, x is greater than 0, so that's only 4. Questions on the first 2. Number 3, we want the x values that are greater than or equal to 14, so that's going to be A and C. Number 4, we want the x values that are less than 6, so that's A and C again. Number 5, the x values that are less than or equal to 1, so that's the negatives, A and D. Questions? Alright, on the back we're graphing these on a number line. So you need 0, 1, 2, 3. Here would be 4. Circle the 4. You're going to fill it in because it is an or equals to. And then you're going to go to the left. Same thing on number 7. You have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Circle the 6. We want greater than, but not or equal to, so don't fill it in and shade to the right. Down on number 8, the negatives are to the left, so I'll have -2, -1, 0. You can even write some positives if you want. Remember, you need the number you're talking about and the 0 for sure. The rest of them you could fill in or not. It's just kind of up to you, personal preference. Circle the -2. Fill it in because it is an or equals to, and we want greater than, so shade to the right. Raise your hand if you'd like more time with these 3. Number 9, we're doing the negatives again. Negatives are to the left on the number line, so -3, -2, -1, and here would be 0. We're going to fill in that circle at the -3 because it is an or equals to inequality, and we're going to the left. And last one on the graphing, it's a +3, so that's going to be to the right of 0. I'm going to leave it open because the 3 is not part of our solution set. It's not or equal to 3. And then I want to show everything less than 3. Any questions on the graphs? So we're going to use inverse operations to get x by itself. So on number 11, I'm going to subtract 7, so x is greater than 3. Number 12, I'm going to add 4, so x is less than 9. Very good. 13, I'm going to add 7, so x is less than or equal to 22. Remember, I said I'm going a little faster than you would probably go on your own. So, for example, if you want to use those lines of equality, that's fine. You know, draw the line down from your inequality symbol, and then that divides your sides. I'm just not doing that. I'm moving a little faster. So if you need more explanation, just tell me to slow down, okay? Number 14, we're subtracting 6. We're getting that x is greater than -8. Number 15, we're subtracting 1. So 7 is greater than or equal to x, but I want to write the x in the front. 7 was bigger than the x, so it's still bigger than the x when you rewrite it. So it's kind of like flipping the symbol. But just make sure that whichever number was bigger, when you write the x in the front, it's still bigger. So double check that one. Alright, 16, we have x is greater than or equal to 7. 17, again, we're going to have to do some rewriting. I'm getting that 1 is less than x, but I want x in the front. X was bigger, x should still be bigger when you rewrite it. And 18 is my first division problem. Divide both sides by 2. You get that x is greater than 5. Questions on those? Alright, 19, divide and divide. We get that x is less than or equal to 3. 20, you multiply and multiply. You get that x is greater than or equal to 20. 21, we divide, we have 2 is greater than x. I want to rewrite that though with the x in the front. 2 was bigger, 2 is still bigger. 22, I want to multiply both sides by -4. What happens to the inequality symbol when you multiply or divide by a negative? You have to flip it. So it was less than or equal to. Now it's greater than or equal to. So go back and double check this one for sure. Very common mistake. Same thing's going to happen on 23. We're dividing by a -1. So I need to flip the inequality symbol. (24) multiplying both sides by 4, so x is less than -20. Raise your hand if you'd like a little bit more explanation on any of the problems on the board. So number 25, I need to divide both sides by 9. Again, this is going to take some rewriting because the x is in the back, but I want x in the front. 9 was bigger, 9's still bigger. And then last one, again, I'm multiplying by a negative number. Anytime you multiply or divide by a negative, you got to flip the way the symbol is facing. And then a -7 times a -2 is a +14. All right, the next section is all about two-step inequalities. That's why these are worth 4 points apiece, so they're getting worth more points as we go further and further on this review. I need to undo addition and subtraction first on the two-stepper, so I'm going to get rid of the adding 14 by subtracting 14 from both sides. That gives me 2x less than 6. Divide both sides by 2, and you're getting that x is less than 3. Same thing on number 28. You want to undo addition and subtraction first. So to undo subtracting 5, we're going to add 5 to both sides. So x divided by 3 is greater than or equal to 13. Then to undo the division, we're going to multiply. So x is greater than or equal to 39. What are your questions? Alright, let's finish up the two-stepper section. Number 29, I want to add 8. Add 8. I have 20 is less than or equal to 4x. And then I'm going to divide both sides by that 4. That's going to give me that 5 is less than or equal to x, but I want the x in the front. The 5 in the back. X was the bigger one. It's still the bigger one, so make sure your inequality symbol is still opening up towards the x. Alright, now we're getting into some of the more challenging ones because we have more negative signs, so be aware of that. On number 30, I'm going to add 9 and add 9. That gives me -3x is greater than 21. Divide both sides by -3. Anytime you multiply or divide by a negative, what happens? Switch the sign. Now it's a less than, and you get -7. Alright, last problem for my two-steppers. I start by subtracting 5 from both sides. That gives me x over -2 is less than 10 minus 5 gives me a 5. Another tricky step, I'm multiplying by a negative, so what do? Switch it. Now x is greater than, and I end up with a -10. Alright, the last section on your test tomorrow will be very similar to this. You'll have 3 word problems. They're worth 4 points each, so a total of 12 points for the word problem. So make sure if this is something you're struggling with, you study it tonight. Number 32 says you make $5 an hour babysitting. You want to make at least $85. That's a very important part of the problem. This weekend, how many hours should you babysit? Any ideas? 5x, that's how much you're going to make, right? And you want that, the smallest possible value of that is 85, right? If it's at least 85. So you want your number to be bigger than 85, but it could be equal to 85. That'd be fine. At least 85. Very good. Now you got to solve. The directions say to write it and solve it. So x is greater than or equal to, anyone know what that gives us? 17. Now remember, in the word problems, you're changing it back to words. Use the same wording. Don't try to get fancy on me. If it was at least, it's still at least 17 hours. You are saving money this summer to go on a class trip. You have already saved $150 so far. You have 5 weeks left to save. How much money should you save each week if you want to save more than $250? 5x plus 150, that's what you already saved, right? That has to be greater than 250. Very good. Then you solve it just like the previous section where we have to undo the addition and subtraction first. Good, and then when you divide by 5, what do you get? Yeah, so x is greater than 20. Change it back to words using the same wording, so more than $20 each week. If you put more than $20 and left out the week part, I'd be fine with that.
What about saving?
Yeah, that'd be fine. More than $20 saved, that would work. The key words I'll be looking for are the more than. I want you to take those inequality words and use them again. All right, last one for the review today. Number 34. You are ordering pizza for dinner. Pizza Plaza is selling large pizzas for $8. You also need to tip your delivery driver $5. You want to spend at most $45. How many pizzas can you order?
8p.
$8 per pizza, so 8p. Plus the $5 you got to give that delivery driver.
Greater than or less than equal to 2.
Hold on. Do you want to pay more than 45 or less than 45?
What is it? Less.
At most. So the highest you want it to be is $45, right? So you want your total to be less than or equal to $45. I know it's very tricky. Just think, if you spent more than $45, that wouldn't be good, right? If you want to spend at most. So the inequality words are kind of tough here, but just kind of write it out and then reason through it. Which side do you want to be bigger? Usually when you're buying something, you want that to be smaller than your total. You don't want to spend more than you've got. All right, now we can solve. So subtract 8p less than or equal to 40. So p is less than or equal to 5. Again, go back to your wording in the problem. So you want to buy at most 5 pizzas. Raise your hand if you have a question. All right, this test is tomorrow. The test is almost identical to this. The numbers will be different. However, the number of problems, the problems in each section, the points per problem, that's all exactly the same. So if you come up with anything that you're confused about, just let me know.